All right, get ready to dive deep because today we're all about unlocking massive change. And the best part, we're doing it through the tiniest of actions.
That's right, micro habits. Those small tweaks to your routine, the ones that might seem insignificant at first.
But they can snowball into some seriously remarkable results over time.
They really can.
And to unpack all of this, we're taking a deep dive into this Forbes article.
Oh, yeah, the 22 micro habits that will completely change your life in a year. Love this one.
So many good ones in here. Now, they kick things off with this comparison to compound interest.
Classic, right? It's that magical way your money multiplies while you sleep.
But here's where it gets interesting. This whole idea, it's not just about finances.
It's so true, it applies to way more. Just like those small deposits lead to big financial growth, those little habits, repeated day after day, they can spark massive transformations in your skills, relationships, health, really any area of life you can think of.
It's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it like that.
It is.
Yeah.
Think about learning to play guitar. Strumming one chord for just a few minutes each day might seem pointless,
Right.
but those daily practices, they build up. Before you know it, you're playing entire songs.
I love that example. It's not about some crazy sudden change. It's those small wins that add up over time.
Small steps, big outcomes.
Speaking of small wins, there's this one micro habit in the article that really jumped out at me. Try to be rejected more. And honestly, actively seeking out rejection. Not exactly my idea of fun. So how does this even work? Help me out here. How can hearing no more often actually help us succeed?
It really is about reframing rejection. Most of us avoid it like the plague. It triggers those fears of failure and judgment. We've all been there. But what if, instead of a setback, we saw rejection as a stepping stone?
Okay, I'm listening, but how do we actually do that? Because let's be real, rejection hurts.
It's about building resilience. Every no you encounter, whether it's a job, a pitch, even asking someone out, it's an opportunity to learn and grow.
Oh, like that.
Like, take James Dyson, the inventor of the Dyson vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
He faced over 5,000 rejections
5,000.
before he found a manufacturer to even consider his design.
I would have given up way before then, seriously.
Right, but it's that grit, that willingness to keep going, that sets successful people apart. Those rejections, they provided valuable feedback that got him closer to his goal.
That's actually really inspiring. So it's not about being fearless, it's about using it as fuel.
Exactly.
Okay, another one that caught my eye. Write one paragraph. It seems so simple.
Almost too simple to expect.
But I can see how it plays into this whole small actions, big results idea. It's like that saying, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Sometimes the hardest part is just starting.
You got it. And write one paragraph. It's brilliant because it's so simple, kind of tricks your brain into thinking, okay, this isn't so bad. And then
Right.
suddenly, you've written a whole page.
Or two, it's like when you finally get yourself to go for a run. You get those shoes on, get out the door, and boom, you're on mile 2 without even realizing.
Yes. And that feeling of getting something done.
Yeah.
Even something small like one paragraph. Your brain loves it.
Right. It's motivating. Okay, this next category, mindset and well-being. This one's big for me because it's about those inner changes that can really impact our lives. And one that jumped out was choose future comfort over present comfort. Honestly, though, kind of feels like a personal attack on my love for instant gratification. Can we make this idea a little more, doable and a little less preachy?
It's all about that balance. Short-term pleasure versus long-term gain. Like, imagine you're craving ice cream after dinner. Having a treat sometimes, totally fine. But choosing future comfort, maybe that looks like opting for some fruit instead.
Okay, so delaying gratification. There's that 10-minute rule. Have you heard of that?
I have.
If you're craving something, you wait 10 minutes before giving in. And usually you realize it wasn't that strong of a craving anyway.
Love that. It's so simple, but it works. Another thing that helps is visualization. Picturing your future self after you make all those healthy choices. Feeling good, energized.
Right. It's way easier to resist when you can actually see why you're doing it. Like that marshmallow experiment.
Exactly.
The kids who waited for that second marshmallow ended up with better outcomes later. Okay, let's switch gears a bit. This next micro habit is observe your patterns. Sounds simple enough, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
Well, this one's all about self-awareness,
Ah,
which is
Ah.
key for growth, right? It's about noticing your thoughts and feelings, but without judging them. Like you're a detective in your own life.
love that analogy, gathering clues about ourselves.
Right. So maybe you're always procrastinating on a certain type of task. By observing your patterns, you might find that it happens when you feel overwhelmed.
So true. I do that. And once you see those triggers, you can figure out how to beat them. Now, this action execution section, so many great ones. This phrase, use what you have,
Yeah.
really stood out. Simple, but so wise.
I agree. We live in a world where it's all about more stuff, more information. But this reminds us we already have what we need. It's about being resourceful.
It's so easy to think we need to buy this or download that before we can even start.
Right, like there's some magic combination of things you need first.
But really, we can start now with what we've got.
Exactly. What's one small step you can take today, using what you already have, to get closer to your goals?
Such a good question. Sometimes it's just about getting out of our own way,
Totally. Okay, before we wrap up, I want to touch on a couple more that really resonated. They're so simple, but they can make a big difference. The first one is drink one more glass of water.
Ah, yes. Staying hydrated. So important, yet so easy to forget.
It's true. And it's a perfect example of those marginal gains we were talking about.
Right, tiny changes add up.
Imagine building a brick wall, right? Each glass of water is a brick.
Okay, I like where you're going with this.
One brick. Not that impressive, but over time, those bricks make a whole wall.
Love that analogy. Small actions, big results.
Exactly.
The other one that stuck with me was eat one less unhealthy snack. Again, so small, but it makes you think.
It's about those conscious choices. It doesn't have to be a huge diet overhaul. Maybe swap chips or fruit or grab some nuts instead of candy.
Exactly. It's interesting to think about how this whole microhabit idea, it can apply to anything, big or small.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Writing a book, starting a business, it's all about breaking those huge goals down into smaller steps.
Focusing on the wins along the way.
Yes. Celebrate those wins
Mhm.
because consistency over time, that's how you see extraordinary results.
I love that. So as we finish up our deep dive here,
I want you to think about what's one micro habit, one little change you can start today to get closer to your goals and create the life you want.
What a great question to leave us with. And on that note, we'll wrap up our exploration into the power of microhabits. Remember, those small actions can create huge ripples of change in your life. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and we'll see you on the next deep dive.